Hi again then guys, and so we've got another circuit tune for you today, but something a little bit different. I've decided to start kind of a new mini-series within the PP specific category. This will be getting its own playlist, just like the X tunes, so be sure to check that out if you want to see others in the class in the future, for future reference. And basically the point of this series is we're going to take a vehicle, which is a popular car, and we're then going to tune it, but so that nobody could tell. Now there are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can fit lots of upgrades such as weight loss and power upgrades, etc., and then reduce the power down and give it a more advantageous ballast. But the disadvantage of that is your PP will be much higher. Now I personally like that way of doing it, but it's not very subtle. If your car suddenly has a jump of around 20 or 30 PP, you're not really going to fool anyone. With this method, the car appears to all intents and purposes to still be stock. So, it is also to be noted, unfortunately, that you still won't be allowed to use these cars in non-tuned lobbies, because at the end of the day, even though the stocks appear spec, it is a tuned car. And that's a shame. It would have been a pretty cool little advantage to have. Now, for this initial build, I've gone for the R34 Skyline. Now, in order for this to be perfect and completely understated, you will need to buy a new R34, or at least own one that does not have an oil change. Now, I've gone for sport soft tyres to maintain the visual illusion, and also to make it more of a street spec tune. But then everything else is heavily modified. So as you can see, race suspension, race brakes. I would recommend colouring the brakes in a similar colour to the standard brakes, which in the case of this car is like a gold or greenish colour. As far as the suspension, the stock ride height is 130, so we've gone for that again. You don't have to do that, but I would recommend it because it means that the car, even when parked next to another one, will still look exactly the same. For the springs though, we've increased them up to 850 and 725, the dampers to 4 all round, anti-roll we've left at 3, camber and toe neutral. We'll come back to the gearbox in just a second. For the diff you want the lowest initial torque, the highest acceleration, and I've got my braking on 20. You can go higher than that to loosen up the steering even more. I've chosen a torque split of 30-70. Again, I would encourage messing around with that to find what works best for you. I've got the prop shaft and triple plate clutch. As far as power, we've done absolutely nothing, of course, not even an oil change. And as far as the weight, again, absolutely nothing. The car already has an adjustable wing, so I have increased the downforce. And finally, for the gearbox, I've got an auto setting of 180, then for the individual gears, 3.8, 2575, 1900, 1475, 1200 and 1000, with a final drive of 3.3. So now to check the comparison, let's take it out to the track. Now, considering that we're running the same PP, the same power and the same weight, it is essentially the same car that we started with. How much of a difference can there really be? It looks the same, it's got exactly the same spec. How much faster is it really going to be around the track? And is it really worth even using a tune like this? Well, I must admit it is a bit of a niched tune. This is more a tune for those of you who, like myself, like to prank people or present things that aren't what they seem. This car's perfect for that, because although yes, it has the same PP, the same power, the same weight, etc. as the stock R34, it even looks exactly the same, it's over 3.5 seconds quicker per lap around Suzuka than the stock R34. 3.5 seconds at exactly the same spec and at exactly the same PP level is nothing to be sniffed at. 3.5 seconds is a massive difference, and obviously the better the car you do it with, the bigger the difference you'll see, especially with difficult cars to drive such as Cobras, Huayras, etc. So I hope you guys find this tune interesting to use, and I will definitely be making more of these sleeper tunes, usually for significantly quicker vehicles than this probably, like the Huayra, the Cobra, etc. But for this particular sleeper build, as I said, I hope you find it fun to use, and I hope you enjoy pranking people with it under the right circumstances. And if you are new to the channel and would like to keep up with other builds like this, then be sure to hit subscribe down below. And as always, Thanks for watching.